Well, 3, 2, 1.
In a world full of noise and spin and shadows, one voice cuts through the lies like a blade through smoke.
Fear no man, fear no evil.
Because the truth is the only thing that matters.
Dance with the devil, walk with the angels, and the truth shall set you free. This ain't for the faint of heart. This ain't for the easily offended. This is where real talk lives. Because if it ain't black, it's white.
Welcome to the one, the only, the Robb Crocker Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the Robb Crocker Show. My name is Alex Gonzalez, and with me is JB Jared Burrows. How are we doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a great Tuesday. I'm really glad to be here. How about you?
I'm doing great as well, and I would love to introduce you to the man of the hour.
The man of the hour.
The show is named after him somehow, but he is Robb Crocker. How are we doing, Robb Crocker?
Today's a special day, but I want to remind everybody that every day is not a diamond. There's some days that it's going to be stones. And I feel like for the past 4, 5, 6 days, every day's been a stone. I've watched some of the greatest things that I've ever seen. Then I've watched some of the most horrendous things that I've ever seen. So it puts me in a place to where is humanity in the U.S. right now? We have good on one hand, we have bad on the other. And we've all been, unfortunately, bombarded with the death of Charlie Kirk. I think that we've seen it over and over, when it happened, where it happened, how it happened, and the people's reactions from it happening. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about that and how people react, and the good, the bad, the ugly. And we'll talk about a few other things, but it's time to get back to the greatest country in the world, and we're not there right now. And we're setting a very poor example of our behavior when foreign countries are demonstrating in a positive light, and in America, we have some of the dumbest things I've ever seen being done on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think that this past week, we saw something tragic, as you said. Essentially, the assassination of someone that all he did was speak his opinions and his beliefs and share with the world. His goals were, or his intentions were, to share a light or share a certain point of view to the people, especially younger people. And to be assassinated because of that is completely unfortunate. It's unjust. It's unright, especially being in the country that is known for
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech,
Yeah.
saying what you believe. I think it's completely irrational. It's completely unfair. And I'm very sad to see this happen in our country in today's day and age, especially.
I think the rhetoric in society has been turned up so greatly, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media.
Yeah.
People having the ability to hide behind a screen and quote unquote being a keyboard warrior, where people feel really tough behind a computer
Yeah.
or a phone. But for someone to get in such a group and have his mind twisted to where he made this become reality, he planned an assassination on an individual that he disagreed with what he stood for. So let's look at what he stood for. He was a husband. He was a father of 2. He was a follower of God. He loved this country. He loved and wrapped himself around the flag of the United States.
Yeah.
Those are the things that he would openly go talk to college campuses, talk to anybody that wanted to listen. And he gave them the opportunity to debate back, not shoot one another, not fist fight, but debate. Debate is the greatest thing, as you were just saying, Gonzo, about this country. Having the Constitution allowing you to say what you want to say and the ability to hear someone's reaction to what you're saying. That does not allow you, if you disagree with them, to go out and kill that person. Whether it's Charlie Kirk, Alexander Gonzalez, JB, or Crocker. We have the ability to communicate. And there's times that we're going to disagree. But if we can't verbally communicate and disagree, then go get a beer afterwards, we're in a bad spot, fellas.
And that's the thing. I think that mainly pre 9/11, and especially kind of during 9/11 and around that time, early 2000s, we were able to discuss issues and not hate each other for it. Like, you could be, a hardcore conservative leaning, and I could be more liberal. We'll talk about it, have an argument or a debate, and then we'll go to dinner after, like you said. But two, the second point I have is, you said it so eloquently, the fact that Charlie Kirk was a family man, a Christian, stood for things that were good for this nation, for the rest of the world, things that we believe are good values. And he was assassinated for that reason. And we really don't know the whole truth, in my opinion. I know that they apprehended a suspect that they are claiming is the shooter. But we've lost so much trust in our institutions that we don't even know if that's the right guy. And I think that this whole situation, I spoke about this with someone earlier today, it's just so much chaos and so much distraction that we really don't know the truth, or we can't trust the truth that's coming out of the FBI or the news media, which I think is unfortunate that we live in a time where something like this can happen and we don't even fully trust our institutions to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is we have someone who's so pro-America that someone would spend the time and effort to try and take him out. It's how...
But when you read, like, I was driving today, and
Yeah?
fortunately I'm not there in the studio with you guys, but when you read and listen to the evidence, as I always say, follow your eyes, listen, and the truth will set you free. Right, wrong, or indifferent, there's a lot of evidence pointing at this guy. So we'll see if it comes out, but I'm hoping and praying that this is not the end of free speech, because he was there speaking. If you disagree, prove me wrong. He allowed other people to talk to him, to give them their voice. I don't necessarily agree with everything he's ever said, but what I do agree with, that he was a person who was murdered. And I completely disagree with someone being killed for having a point of view.
Yeah, and like you just said, he also gave the opposition a right to speak. His whole premise was having a discussion and debating the other point of view.
Exactly.
And from his position, enlightening them on what his beliefs were. And despite how dumb some of these people sounded, he let them speak and share their opinions. And he would come back and say, this is why I believe you're wrong. This is what I believe. And I think that's what this country is founded on. The sharing of different beliefs, so that we can come to an agreement at the end of the day. So it's not like he was a propagandist, that he would silence other people's views and only share his. He would share his point of view, and he would let you share your point of view, and Jared and myself share their point of view. All of the leftist college students, whoever it was that came to the microphone, they were allowed to speak and share their opinion. And his whole platform was essentially saying, you guys watching, decide for yourselves based on what you've heard, what you think is right and what's wrong.
If you can't out-debate me, whether it's you're illiterate or you're stupid, that does not give you the authoritative right to come kill JB, to come kill Gonzo, or to come kill Crocker. Just because we out-debated you. But we've given everybody the opportunity on this show from the origination and creation of this to talk to us, explain something. And now that you're back, there's going to be a debate in that studio about whether we landed in the moon. So you'll be the judge, jury, and all of that. You missed that show last week, but we will have that debate.
I was caught up.
This isn't a lighthearted subject to me. Anytime someone loses their life, the consequences are life-changing for this family. It will not end when they bury him. This wife, these children are at an age to where they'll never know their father other than watching videos of him. That's how they'll know him.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that, and that's one thing that I was talking about today too, is the effect that it has not only on the public, but this individual's family, his friends, who are in an uproar about it. Candace Owens specifically. If you've seen any of her clips from a recent show or just a show in general, she is livid, but she's putting herself in line to be next. As unfortunate as it is to say that.
Guys, you got to be willing to listen to others. You got to be willing to listen to the other side. Whether the three of us agree with it or disagree with it, but if you listen to the other side, it will give you the information and the ammunition to make you smarter, to talk to them in a way that you possibly might be able to sway their opinion, or you may not, but you took the time to listen to someone.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great thing that Charlie Kirk has done. He's promoted the idea of debating. And yeah, a lot of times you see some of his clips or the full video, whatever the case is, and you hear different arguments, not only from the side you agree with, but the other side that you disagree with. I think that he was the number one proponent of debate in the modern political space, which is great. We need more of that. And to see him essentially go away because of it is totally not right.
He was such an advocate of free speech. He wanted everyone to have the opportunity to say what they wanted to say. He never looked at anything as hate speech. Everybody had the opportunity to say what they wanted to say. So with Charlie Kirk's death, do the two of you feel that Turning Point, which is the organization that he founded, will be bigger, louder, stronger, and bolder? And what do you see, and how does it impact the country?
Personally, when it comes to Turning Point, my opinion is that Turning Point itself will never be the same. I think that the movement that Charlie Kirk was pushing for, that he started, that movement may continue and grow, but Turning Point itself, I don't see it going anywhere at this point, especially if they're trying to
Replace him.
replace him with Ben Shapiro, let's say.
That's a mistake.
Putting Ben Shapiro in his seat, I think, is a bad idea. I think that it's better for them to leave the Charlie Kirk show in basically where it was, not continue it, maybe start something new, but Turning Point will never be the same again. I think that Ben Shapiro should stay in his own lane. But the movement that Charlie Kirk helped create will continue from a different voice, from a different outlet. And I think that people now are waking up, whether it's coming to Christ, leaning right, whatever the case is. People saw what happened and were so upset with not only what happened, but the reaction of the government and the reaction of their peers, that they are so pissed off, they are coming over to our side and saying, listen, I now understand what you guys have been talking about. I understand your point of view, and that the people on the left are mentally insane, that they are cheering for the fact that this man was murdered. I don't agree with this, and I now understand what you guys stand for and what you represent, and I want to be on this side.
But one of the things that I know is being in different situations in my life, that when one man goes down, another man has to step up.
That's true.
And I don't always know that in this situation that there's one voice that can replace Charlie Kirk. Since he's passed away, there's been over 37,000 requests for new organization groups at high schools, colleges, wherever it is across the country. So you can take 37,000 requests and you can just say each group gets 10 people. Well, that's 370,000 new members. Or they get 100. Or they get 1,000. So I don't know what voice leads the movement, but I don't think you're stopping the movement.
Exactly. The movement is not stopping. I think the movement is growing. I think people are understanding the point of view. But I do think that as far as Turning Point goes, like you said, I think Turning Point, in a sense, is done. At least Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk show, essentially, that should be put to rest. We should acknowledge what he's done, and we should pick up the mantle in a different way. Not legitimately picking up his microphone, as Ben Shapiro said, but picking up the mantle and taking it and saying, listen, this is what Charlie Kirk stood for. We should take this mantle and continue his message and what he stood for and preach the good word, essentially. But do it in our own way.
Flag falls. If you were in a war battle, which unfortunately it appears that this country is. So the flag is fallen. Someone needs to pick up the flag and move forward, whether that's his wife. But I know that one voice cannot be replaced by whether it's Ben Shapiro or someone else like that.
Yeah.
It has to be the message. It's not the voice. It's the message of what he stood for.
No, I agree. I mean, it's not going to be his wife. It's not going to be anyone close to him.
I really hope it's not Ben Shapiro. That'd be a huge mistake, but might expose him more. I'd rather be Candace Owens or somebody else that's more well established.
But Candace Owens has her own show.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I think that she is someone that will pick up the mantle in a way and fight for him, but through her own platform, which is what I'm okay with.
I mean, I'd rather take Alex Jones than Ben Shapiro. But I mean, they all have their own platforms. That's the difference. That's why it's so funny. That why would someone want to be
JB and Gonzo and Crocker? If someone approached us tomorrow and said, "Hey guys, here's an opportunity for the three of you to go on a college nationwide tour representing this," I'm pretty sure we would collectively all talk and say, nah, this isn't for us. This isn't our brand. This isn't what we want to do. Do we philosophically believe in a lot of the things that he did? Yes, we do. But we want to walk in our own shoes. We want to walk in our own steps. That's why I think it's going to be so difficult for Turning Point to move forward with a voice that's not his.
Right. And I think that if Turning Point wants to continue, they need to do it in a different way, whether it's starting a different show with someone else at the head or doing something. I mean, they can continue to go to college campuses with someone else at the forefront. That might be fine. But to essentially try and replace Charlie Kirk is not going to happen. They have to do it in a different way with a different person. But they can't essentially continue what Charlie Kirk was doing. And Charlie Kirk himself, he started Turning Point USA. That was his baby back when he was 18 years old. So that's 23 years ago. You can't just put someone in his place. You have to take that company and do it in a different way to essentially replace Charlie Kirk.
So should people be celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
No. Not at all.
I think that the people that are doing it are sick, mentally ill. I personally know instances of people that have said things of celebration at their jobs, which is retarded, and they have been reprimanded in some way or punished in some way. Because at the end of the day, like we said earlier, you are celebrating the assassination of someone who simply spoke their mind and shared their beliefs. That's like, for example...
So, Gonzo, JB, if you found out that the doctor that you go to, for whatever you may go to, was celebrating his death, would you go back to that doctor?
No. I think that these people should not be rewarded in any way, first of all. Their business, whatever it is they do, we as the individual should not support them. While they do have the right to say what they want, and they have the quote-unquote right to celebrate this person's assassination, we as the public should be smart enough and empathetic enough to say, listen, we shouldn't support these people. And like I was saying earlier, these people should be reprimanded and punished, not from the government, but from where they work and their employees.
From the people.
Yes.
They should be punished from the people. A doctor who went to medical school, whose one lone job is to save people's lives. He took a Hippocratic oath. He has dedicated his life to saving people. So how he or she can go out and fundamentally use social media and congratulate and celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk is beyond me.
I 100% agree. I think that it's almost like it was a psyop in a way, where unintentional psyop, where it's like, listen, this happened, and now we know who our enemies are. Because if you're someone that's celebrating the death of this person, we shouldn't be associated with you, and you shouldn't be associated with society.
Well, how many times have I said that educators of young children should all sign a contract that they love America, that they want America to be great, that they want our children to learn and be phenomenal. But when you have educators of young children, college professors, these are the people who are molding and guiding the next generation's thought process. Doing this, I love the fact that they're getting fired. I absolutely relish the fact that they're being held accountable for their ignorance.
I agree 100%. They should be all held accountable, whatever field they are in, and we should make an example out of them so that way people can come back to reality and realize that, like, for example, when 9/11 happened, that was a unity moment.
Yes.
Regardless of how you want to look at it, Americans got together and said, we're on the same team. We need to bring people back to that reality of that we are on the same team. We're all Americans and we should be fighting for the same thing.
Well, the environment we live in right now is very violent and has the opportunity to be very destructive. We are on the verge of the wrong match lighting, and we could be in a very serious situation in this country because of the rhetoric and the vitriol words that are spread on a daily basis.
Absolutely. I think it's a true problem that we're facing and that we need to fix it. I don't know how we're going to fix it. I think that obviously we can't use more examples like this to fix it. I think that would be wrong. But we need to figure out a way to bring people back together to reality and be on the same page again.
I don't think anyone has the right to attack anyone personally for differentiating on what they believe. If you don't agree with someone, so be it. That does not allow you or authorize you to personally attack that individual.
100%.
The cultural drift that we are right now in this country is so scary because we are so divided that if someone passes away, you should be able to remember them. You should be able to celebrate their life instead of immediately attacking them and the people who followed them. This person died. He's not coming back. He died.
No, exactly. At the end of the day, like you said, people are so out of touch with reality. And if it was them or one of their family members in this position, they would be distraught. Their life would be in shambles. But there's such a disconnect from reality that that's not the case anymore.
But if we let this trend continue with the violence and the ignorance and the behavior of people mocking his death, I don't know that you're ever going to close this door. It's going to be open, and I don't see, and I'm trying to avoid going from the left side to the right side and how people act and how people react. But if you look at the people on college campuses who are doing ignorant things, mocking how he got shot and how he went down, the greatest thing that can happen is these college campuses expel these students. The people who are doing things illegally get arrested, and we move forward, because you can stay in the same lane and drive forever, but you're never going to get to where you want to get to.
Let me ask you this. In terms of how the FBI handled this investigation, were you under any suspicion of how this all went down? Meaning, do you think that this went down organically, or do you think that there are things that don't make sense to you?
Discord and the other things that he was on, I think it could potentially be bigger than just this one individual. But I don't know how, as quickly as it happened, I don't know how you're manipulating video from college campuses showing this individual's face and everybody agreeing with it. I thought the Utah governor was there, was very receptive to getting things done. The sheriff in that town looked like a no-nonsense guy. So I think it took the FBI to get into the Discord and all of those things, because I don't think the local authorities could have done that as quickly. But I know that when I was listening today, hearing his note that he wrote to his significant other that was under the keyboard, I don't know why that individual would have made any of this up.
Right. I mean, there's a few things that stood out to me, like how he disassembled the gun, supposedly, and then reassembled it and left it under the tree. I think that Charlie Kirk's essentially, I don't want to say funeral, but that whole thing was rushed. Like, they did an autopsy in under 24 hours, supposedly, put him in a casket and sent him off. A lot of things didn't really add up to me, and I hope that we can find out more. But at the end of the day, what I unfortunately feel like is that in a couple of weeks, this will all be swept under the rug, and people won't be talking about it anymore, which is not what we want. We want people to remember this.
The Mauser, the rifle that he used, is an old rifle. I don't even know if it's easily disassembled and to be able... There's a lot of rifles right now that he could have carried that could have been broken down and assembled on this roof. But when you were reading or listening today, he quote unquote thought he was in the clear, just needed to get the rifle. Well, number one, he was on the roof. Number two, he laid down on the ground. Number three, he left DNA there. Number four, who the fuck wants to jump off the roof?
Exactly.
I'm playing this, I don't know.
And the camera footage for that too.
Video of him jumping. So that the video track is what has to piece it all together, Gonzo. But the one thing about where we are tonight, people with large platforms who have a lot of followers have the ability to control the narrative of what JB, Gonzo, myself, and all the other people in the United States, across the world, they think about what the reality is. Like, you're asking me a question, I gave you the answer of what I thought. But if a person's got millions of followers, he can spin it, and next thing you know, government's covering this up. Whether they are or are they not.
Exactly. And to your point, the weapon that he supposedly used, from my understanding, no, it's not easily disassembled. It does take time. And the timing of this doesn't make sense from how he was able to commit the act, disassemble his weapon, put it in his backpack, put the barrel in his pants, get off the roof, go to where he was to reassemble it and hide it. That all doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why would you reassemble a rifle to hide it?
Exactly.
I haven't heard that, so just educate me where that came from.
I only know there's a lot of distractions, right? This Jeffrey Zinn character, for example. The first individual they arrested, they put his face all over the news. Makes it very confusing. Everyone's so focused on the individual that actually didn't commit the shooting, but he was arrested, or detained at least. But he's also part of, I believe, I could be wrong, the Boston bombing, but also 9/11. That's all over the internet as well. And it's the exact same individual multiple times. By creating a distraction, it kind of diffuses or diverts the attention to where we really need to find the actual individual who did the shooting. There's a lot of variables that don't add up.
One of the things about that individual, he's ultimately being detained for child pornography right now. So.
Yeah.
But everyone has the ability to be able to diffuse the situation that we're in right now, of the way we think of all of this. And one of the things that we're not talking about, which I don't want to take away from Charlie Kirk, is that same day when all this took place, the Senate voted on releasing the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And it was voted down 51 to 49.
Exactly.
Every Republican voted no. So that happened that day. There was a lot of other things that happened that day, and we'll talk about before we get off the show. So it's amazing what a major news cycle can hide, but no one's talked about that.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one of the things we caught on to as well, is that the same day this was all going on, obviously it's going to be in the news for that day and a few days after, is that the Senate voted 51 to 49 against releasing the Epstein files, or at least postponing it. And that brings you back to the question of, like, okay, are they using this all as a big distraction? What really is going on? And that further brings you to distrust from the institutions that we were supposedly supposed to trust.
And I'm going to go back to the core of America. The core of America, how do we walk around with each other on a daily basis? How do we get back together and to realize in America, living in the greatest country in the world, that we're so lucky? As I started this show, every day is not going to be a diamond. There's going to be days, there's going to be stones. But unless we're all together, we're going to have a whole lot of stones.
Exactly. And that's the whole point, is we have to come back together and be on the same side.
Well, I find really interesting.
I don't understand, Gonzo and JB. Charlie Kirk was a God-fearing man.
Yes.
Why is the mention of God so divisive in this country? When every day we walk around, every one of us, God's a part of our life. You can look around. You may not believe, but this country that we live in, that we want to participate in God we trust, is on every bill that's in your wallet. It's what guides this country, which is money.
Yeah.
And it says, in God we trust.
Personally, my belief is that the enemy is actively trying to fight this through different organizations and different entities. But it does say in the Bible that we as Christians will be persecuted nationwide, worldwide. I think we're actively seeing the enemy try to suppress the message of Christ, to the point where, like you said, the simple mention of Christ is attacked. I think that is something that needs to be brought up more. I think that's something that Charlie Kirk was attempting to bring up more. And I think that someone like Ben Shapiro, who would supposedly take over his position, would further hinder that message. Because as we know, let's be honest, he's not Christian. I don't think that he is a person that could replace Charlie Kirk.
When I hear Ben Shapiro's name, I think, number one, I don't want to listen to his voice.
Exactly. I agree.
Number two, I think that he would be someone trying to stand in as a false prophet.
100%. It's who he is now. It's who he is now.
He's portraying himself as something to make a dollar. That's my honest opinion. But I hope, again, a collective group of voices could possibly replace Charlie, but it's not one voice that we've heard already. I don't know who that individual is. I don't know that voice, but when that individual rises to the top, we'll all know it and say, that's the person.
Exactly. It's only a matter of time, and we really can't rush that process. It has to happen organically.
But I agree with both of you regarding the situation that it's no different than when Kennedy was assassinated. Everything, as I say over and over, every action has an equal or greater reaction. What will be the reaction of this action?
It's a great point. And it is a very similar situation to John F. Kennedy in a few ways.
Absolutely. So, how do we're at a different age group. And I'm at an age group, maybe you're classified in my age group, I don't know. But I don't know what generation I'm in, other than I know that I love America. And I want to see America thrive. I want to see America succeed. I want the people in this country to be able to have the things that they want. I want them to have the opportunity, if they desire, to go get what it is they want. I don't think anybody should be given anything. I think everyone should have the opportunity to get the education that will give them the foundation to be able to succeed in this country. And if we don't do that, shame on us, because hell will have no fury, because we will continue to see what we just saw.
I agree. You're 100% right.
So how is social media dictating what happens in our future with AI?
With Charlie Kirk, or just in like individually?
Charlie Kirk's a perfect example, JB. But take Charlie Kirk, how that happened. And I hate to say this, every one of us are so vulnerable. Charlie Kirk was murdered by a guy that wanted to shoot him. What happens? A politician, a congressman, a school board member, a teacher, anyone goes out to a restaurant, to a bar, and there's someone working there who completely disagrees with everything about them. They don't have to shoot them. They have their life in their hand. They can poison their food. They can poison their drink. This is not as difficult as going out and being glamorous and shooting someone.
Yeah.
You can control a lot of variables with very simple things if you want to get rid of people.
Well, let me put it this way to answer your initial question, how social media affects us. And this situation as an example. I think that a lot of people want to be not necessarily right, but they want to be first. And as we saw, there was an initial suspect that was apprehended. I believe that was part of the plan. He was a distraction. but people want to say, hey, this is what happened. I was there first. So that's your number one problem, is that people don't want to be right. They want to be first. And when AI comes into play, that further hinders your ability to learn the truth, because AI gets involved. Someone on Facebook finds the video. They have a decent following. That video spreads around. Next thing you know, people are believing that, I don't know, Charlie Kirk was killed by aliens.
Whoa,
There's a certain demographic of people that might believe that video. So I think that social media has a negative impact on us finding out the truth, because people are too lazy to research themselves, and they see the first video or first piece of news that comes out and they kind of run with that.
It's not just that. I mean, look who owns the top 5 to 6 news networks. You got, Fox News, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, PBS, and CNN. So it's kind of like people have limited choices, but at the same time, their laziness will still fail them.
So it's all relevant to where we get our information from.
Yes.
Partially,
Like,
yeah.
I don't do Facebook. I guess Facebook's still around. I don't know. I have Instagram, and I look at things there that I look at somebody who caught a great blue marlin. Then the next thing I know, my feed is bombarded with fishing.
I'll tell you one thing real quick. The Robb Crocker show, a lot of their recent reels are gaining traction on Facebook. So Facebook is a great place for people to find the Robb Crocker show. It's getting a lot of traction on there, and that's linking into the Instagram. So if there's one good thing we can say about Facebook, is that the Robb Crocker show is being pushed out on Facebook.
Well, I appreciate everyone helping us, because we do this once a week, and I don't think we've missed a week since we started.
Nope.
Whether I've traveled or wherever I've been across the world, Gonzo and JB, you've been there. We've had some fill-ins, and the fill-in does great occasionally. But I don't think I heard anybody. I'm getting messages. Sorry. But I just want everyone to understand that the three of us, whether you agree with what we say or whether you disagree with what we talk about, there's one thing that you have to agree with. The three of us love this country. We absolutely, unequivocally love America. And we want America to be the home of the strong and to allow everyone the opportunity to succeed.
Absolutely. And like we talked about a couple weeks ago, we do truly want America to be great again. And we might not agree on how that looks, but our motivations are clear. We want this country to be great, greater than ever before. And there's no reason why the rest of the nation shouldn't feel the same.
And it makes no sense to me when you go to the villages in Florida. This is the one thing. I talk about right and wrong all the time. And this pissed me off more than anything. I don't give a damn if you like or you don't like Charlie Kirk or person A or person B. If they're being celebrated at a memorial, if an individual is so ignorant to go run through that and try to destroy it, we go back to right or wrong. We go back to black and white. That is point blank wrong. The guy's already dead. The memorial's there. There's a group of individuals celebrating it. So you are unilaterally making a decision to go in front of thousands of people, run through pictures, run through flowers. You have to ask yourself, did I make a right decision? Should I have gotten tackled? I got hurt when he tackled me. So what? Every action has an equal or greater reaction. Your action was to be ignorant. Can't make it up, Gun. You can't make it up, guys.
No, you're 100% right. I think that another thing, going back to people being detached from reality, is that they believe they can continue to live the way they're living without suffering consequences. Like you said, my actions have consequences, and there is an equal and opposite reaction to whatever is happening. People are so detached from that. They just want to live their lives however they...
I hate to say this. I remember, and this, I'm going to date myself. I grew up playing pinball and shooting pool. I remember when Pac-Man came out. You had 3 lives. When those 3 lives were over, the game was over. But everyone now plays all of these virtual games, whether it's Call of Duty, whatever violent shoot-'em-up game it may be of today's time, which is fine. It's entertainment. But when you allow that to enter your brain, that I can shoot someone or I can get shot and I'll come back to life, that's not reality. And I really think it's unfortunate that COVID had a lot to do with that. When all these kids were locked up, that's what they gravitated to. That's what they did. That's what they played.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I do think that COVID was a mess in a lot of ways, and part of that was, I guess, really just part of the distraction from reality, or taking people away from reality.
One of the things that we talked about last week, Gonzo, while you were gone, I don't know if JB can recall, the murder of the Ukrainian on the train in Charlotte. Ironically, the same day the Charlie Kirk murder occurred, a judge who's a Democrat in North Carolina removed the suspect from jail and sent him to a mental institution for 60 days to be evaluated. So there's multiple things that occur when this happens. He literally murdered this individual on a video camera. But by going to this mental health facility in North Carolina, he could get diagnosed to where he never gets sentenced to crime.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, yeah.
And ultimately, through the process, be able to walk out at some point. So it's disheartening to think that you guys have heard me. If you murder someone and it's on video, the Constitution says speedy trial. There's 2 cases right now where we should have a speedy trial. The one in Charlotte and the one in Utah. Don't spend 6, 10, 20, 30 years wasting people's money. Are you guilty? I'm guilty. Repent to God? I don't want to repent to God. All right, got to go.
No, I think that the whole justice system needs to be revamped in such a way where it actually serves justice. I mean, like you said, this guy who's had 14 previous convictions does this, number 15, and then almost immediately, like you said, they say, you know what, we're going to take him out and we're going to send him to a mental institution. I mean, hell.
That should have been like arrest 3,
14
4, 5
times.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's safe to say this guy is a demon. Let's be honest.
Or more or less he's doing it on purpose. It's not a mental thing.
No.
Well, he has portrayed that his body's been infiltrated by some type of bug that's telling him to do this.
Right.
So, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Hey, that's what Ted Bundy said.
Well, we are at a state in this country right now to where mental illness is a big, big problem. And how do you solve it? Because the people in Congress can't talk to the right, they can't talk to the left. Everyone is so superficial, worried about themselves instead of worrying about what's better for the people who elected them. And I go back to this, I go back to term limits, I go back to we got to have people who give a damn about us. If we don't have anybody there that cares about us, cares about the country. So I want to close tonight where I don't want everyone to always think. I know my voice resonates with the one person who's watching, or the 5 people, or the 10. One day, maybe 1 million. I don't know. But I want my tone to set the pace for what the future can be. I've talked a lot about Latin Americans. I've talked about a lot of illegals. I don't know who in this country is illegal. And it's not my place to judge. It's not my place to look at and to decide. But I want every Latin American that watches our show, that listens, to know that the Robb Crocker Show, Gonzo and JB, we care about all people. We're not out to denigrate anyone. So I want society to find a way to let the Latin Americans that are in this country find the landing spot that allows us all to move forward. And we've yet to do it. We continue to denigrate, and I don't know how to fix it, but I wish I did.
I think one day we can fix it. I get where you're coming from. And I think that is something that obviously the Robb Crocker Show stands for. And I just hope, quite honestly, I hope that one day, as we've spoken about many times in the past hour, is that we can just come back together as Americans and be on the same side again and not be fighting each other, because there's no reason for that. We should all be heading in the same direction.
JB, what do you want to get off your ship, my man?
I know we talk about it virtually every week, but I would say the media, but I also have a little sinus infection, so we can walk that off the ship too.
Hey, there's a product. See if we can get a damn endorsement. Zicam. The nose swabs, they've got the Zicam is the end all of end all for any type of illness, the best I can tell.
There you go. Not sponsored, but maybe soon.
Soon.
Gonzo, what do you want to get off your ship, buddy? You look good tonight, my man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm not going to get my good looks and fashion off of the ship. That's going to stay here.
Wow.
But I will say that I guess just the hatred that you have for your fellow man, if you are dealing with that, that should be off our ship. I don't think that the 3 of us deal with that specifically, but I think that us as a nation should look inwardly and say, why is it that there is so much hatred against our fellow man, our fellow citizen? I think that we need to be actively working to get that mentality off our ship, so that way we can all be on the same ship working together to find the promised land.
Very well said. As the captain of our ship, I want to get the wind of our back. I want to get the bow up. And I want to figure out how we end the division, the hate for this country. When you purposely see individuals acting in a way that does not benefit this country, I just want them to be able to look in the mirror and say, why am I acting like this? Do I not love America? I want to get everyone on the same ship. I don't know how, but I know if we all pull the same way, we go straight. If you got somebody pulling this way, we're going to make circles. Let's all pull together, guys. Let's all pull together.
Exactly. Let's not make circles. Let's all go head forward in the same direction. I 100% agree. I want to thank everyone personally for tuning in to the Robb Crocker Show. If you haven't yet, if you're new here, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can stay updated every time we go live, every time we upload new shorts. Find us at the Robb Crocker Show everywhere else on your favorite social media platform. And until next week, on behalf of myself, JB and Crocker,
Have a good night.
God bless America, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.